Yeah, hello everybody. Yesterday we discussed few concepts on complex number. Today we will cover this. Today's agenda is this. First, we will revise few things that we have discussed in our earlier lecture. Then we will include new concepts on complex number, geometrical representation of z1 minus z2, z1 z2 and z1 by z2. We already discussed z1 plus z2, how it can be represented in geometrically in a complex plane in earlier class. Then we will discuss few properties of complex number. Then we will try to see in some cases where arguments principal value of argument that is coming greater than pi or less than equal to minus pi, that is the outside the normal boundary of principal value of z, principal value of the argument. Okay, so after that we will discuss few problems. Okay, so let's proceed. We discussed that when we reached the need of calculating the root of a negative number, then the concept of imaginary number came, and the smallest unit, that is represented by I, it is read as iota, or simply we can say I. It is root over of minus 1, that is replaced with I. I is the smallest unit that brings the whole concept of complex number. When I gets, suppose you have two real number added or subtracted, when I gets multiplied with any of this, either this side or this side, so 2 plus 3i or 3 plus 2i, this is called a complex number. Okay, now after this there is something called, we discussed root x into root y. When this is valid, if both are negative, x negative, y negative, in that case this does not hold true, because suppose if you have this and if you simply multiply it, what happens? This equal to root of xy, but this is not true. For multiplying two roots, you have to have the number inside the root in such a way that at least any one of these two should be greater than 0 or positive. If any of these is 0, then definitely the result is 0. So that is not a concern. Concern is this. Suppose this is negative, both negative. So I square x, I will replace minus 1 with I square, because we know I is root over of minus 1. So that means I square is what? Minus 1. And this becomes I square y. So from here we have I root x, from here I root y. So actually it becomes I root xy, that means minus this. So it's not equal to this. So simple multiplication that we knew till now for any real number, that is not applicable here if the multiplication is in the form of root over of x into root over of y and both are negative. So in that case, first you have to replace minus with I or I square, anything, means in terms of I. Minus should be replaced inside the root in terms of I, then do the simple calculation. Okay. Any complex number can be represented as x plus iy, where x and y are real. We have seen in earlier class this. So suppose you have this equality like this, x plus iy equal to a plus ib. So it is always real part equal to real part and imaginary part equal to imaginary part. Okay, it is always true. This is one property of complex number, and this x is called real part of z. This is called imaginary part of z. Okay. Now z is x plus iy. So what is conjugate of z? This is z bar. It is conjugate of z. This is calculated just replacing I with minus I. You will get z bar. Now we discussed few properties of conjugate complex number as z bar equal to z. Z plus z bar is always real. Z minus z bar is imaginary. Where z equal to x plus iy. So you can put z bar as x minus iy and do the simple calculation. Z bar equal to what? X square plus y square. This is actually mod z square, because if z equal to x plus iy, we know that mod z is root over of real part square plus square of imaginary part. So this is actually root of x square plus y square whole square. So mod z square. Z by z bar. What is this? X plus iy by x minus iy. Now multiply numerator and denominator with conjugate of denominator. So what it becomes? X square plus y square, and becomes x plus iy whole square. So it becomes x square minus y square. I am just giving some step jump. So this by this plus I into this by this. So this is again a complex number. Suppose there are two complex numbers z1 and z2. So if you take bar, it will be z1 bar plus z2 bar. Z1 now we'll see z1 minus z2 bar becomes z1 bar minus z2 bar. Now z1 z2 bar becomes z1 bar z2 bar. Z1 by z2 whole bar equal to z1 bar by z2 bar, in this way. Okay, these things are very simple, but while solving some MCQ or any other longer problems, these properties will prove to be very useful. We will have some examples to understand and see how these can be applied. We have seen in the last class how a point P Z, that is x plus iy, can be represented. Actually it is equivalent to x comma y. So it can be represented like we normally do in xy plane. Okay, now xy plane, x o x dot y o y dot. Here in normal two-dimensional geometry, this is called x o x dot, this is x axis, y o y dot is y axis. But in complex number, this is called real axis, this is imaginary axis, because all the complex part is what? I y y, that always calculated along y axis, and x is the real part that is calculated or plotted in this axis. So x plus iy, I will go x to the right along the real axis, then y top, y upwards. This is along the y axis, maybe downward or upward, that is a different thing, but it should be parallel to y axis. So this is x plus y. Okay, so this is how we represent a point. Then we had argument arz of z, that is again called amplitude of z. What is this? This is tan inverse y by x. This is the theta. Theta is what? Theta is the angle that is that the line joining the origin and the point makes with the positive x-axis, or real side positive side of the real axis. So what is this? Tan theta equal to y by x, so theta equal to tan inverse y by x. Now see, theta can have infinite number of possible values. Why? If theta is suppose 30 degree, so if I rotate 2 pi and come here, 2 pi means 360 degree rotate and come here, so again it will be 2 pi plus theta. It is same as theta. Okay. Similarly 4 pi plus theta, this thing, this is a simple, like if you add 2 pi, it becomes, if you add 2 pi, it becomes same. It is in the first quadrant, it will be again in the first quadrant with same angle, with the positive real axis. So there are many values. So there was another concept came. What is the principal value? See, here and here only difference is, this is a argument z with infinite number of value of this theta. Here it will be some specified values which falls in this range. Okay, the difference is here is small a principal value. While writing principal value, we write ARGZ with small a and AMPZ also with small. Okay, we discussed like in a complex plane, when we represent a point P in different quadrants, and even it falls on any axis like real axis, imaginary axis, and positive side of the real axis, negative side of the real axis, positive side of the imaginary axis, and on the negative side of the imaginary axis, all the possibilities, like if P is present in various position, what should be the range or value of principal z, principal value of z, principal value of argument z or amplitude z. Okay. Now the last topic that we discussed yesterday was what? It was the representation of z1 plus z2. Okay. So with that, our first agenda will end for today. XO x dot YO y dot. Okay. Yesterday we drew like this one point z1, one point z2. So what is the addition of this? So if this is z1, x1 plus i1 is the point. If it is z2 represented by x2 plus y2, then this is called this point. That is, if you complete a parallelogram with sides, suppose this we'll name it P, this is Q, this is R. So parallelogram with sides OP and OR, if you complete it, then OQ will represent Z1 plus Z2. That means X1 plus X2 plus I into Y1 plus Y2. Okay. So till now we discussed yesterday and we have seen how we reach Z1 plus Z2 from these two. Okay. Today we will discuss how to represent Z1 minus Z2. Okay. So for that we'll use the same concept. Okay, this concept. See how we can use the same learning here. We know we have a point Z1. We need to reach to Z1 minus Z2. So if this is Z1, it is Z2. So it becomes Z1 plus Z2. But we need to reach where? Z1 minus Z2. So suppose if I represented this as this, then addition of these two comes Z2. Simple. If this is Z1, if this is Z2, so the parallelogram, the diagonal extreme point Q will give the summed result of Z1 plus Z2. But I have taken the other point as Z2 minus Z1, so that I can add these two to reach this. Now in the reverse way, we will try to understand if Z1 and Z2 given, how to reach there. It is simple. If you suppose you have point this Z1, you have point Z2. So taking OP as one side of the parallelogram and OQ as the one diagonal, just complete OPQR parallelogram. So the R, the opposite point of P, that is the R of this parallelogram, represents Z2 minus Z1. It is simple. Okay. In modulus amplitude form, what we write? Z1 is suppose R1. We know R1 is what? Nothing but mod Z. Okay. We know R1 is mod Z. So normally modulus amplitude form is cos theta 1 plus I sin theta 1. Z2 is what? Z2 is R2. We will take another modulus and another amplitude. So another angle actually. So if this is R1 theta 1, so what is this? This is called OP is actually becomes R1. And theta 1 is what? This is theta 1. Now for Z2, this is the theta 2, the angle with positive side of the real axis is theta 2 in the anti-clockwise direction. It may be in the clockwise direction also, that we will see later. So it is theta 2, and this OQ, it is what? OQ is modulus of Z2 or R2. Okay. It is theta 1, this is this. So Z2 minus Z1 is this, and the angle also you can determine. Like Z2 minus Z1, if you simply calculate Z2 minus Z1 is what? Z2 is this, so R2 cos theta 2 minus R1 cos theta 1 plus I into what? R2 sin theta 2 minus R1 sin theta 1. Okay. So from here we get another complex number. Z2 minus Z1 is another complex number. Okay, now we will prove one property from here. We have seen that property from the summation of the complex number also, but here also we will prove. We know from the property of a triangle that one side is less than summation of the other side. So what we will do here, as this is a parallelogram, so this PQ is Z2 minus Z1. So we will start with PQ. PQ is less than what? PQ is less than OQ plus OP. This is OP, this is OQ. So this is less than this plus this. So that means OQ is what? First PQ. PQ is what? PQ is mod of, PQ is a length, so becomes mod of this portion. This is what? If this is Z2 minus Z1, then definitely opposite side of the parallelogram is equal. So PQ is equal to OR equal to Z2 minus Z1 mod. When you are going to calculate any length, then you have to put it as mod, because Z2 minus Z1 is a complex number, that is not a length. If you take mod, then only you will reach length. So Z2 minus Z1 is less than what? OQ. Similarly, OQ is what? Mod of Z2, because its coordinate is Z2, plus this. So this is mod of Z1. So mod of Z2 minus Z1 is less than mod of Z2 plus mod of Z1. In the same way, if you take this one as Z2, then it is Z1 minus Z2. Okay. If you would have taken this as Z2 and Z1 minus Z2, then what would have been the result? Z2 and this, if you added, it would have been Z1. Okay, so Z2 and Z1 with 2 points, if you draw a parallelogram, then the opposite side point will represent Z1 minus Z2. So from here you will get Z1 minus Z2 modulus is less than this. So actually combining these two, we can write anything, whether you first write Z1 or Z2, anything, it is always the mod becomes less than mod Z1 plus mod Z2. This is one property, and another property, this is C, mod Z1 minus Z2 less than something. Now we will see how that becomes greater than something. See, this plus this is greater than this, we know. So we can write PQ. Earlier PQ was on the lesser than side. Now I represent PQ on the greater than side. PQ plus OP is greater than OQ. Okay. So PQ is what we know, mod of Z2 minus Z1. I am not referring to this changed values. So I will just go with my earlier calculation, earlier points. Otherwise I have to change few things more here. Earlier we decided these things, so I will proceed with this only. So PQ is what? Z2 minus Z1 plus OP. OP is Z1 greater than mod of Z2, that is OQ. Okay. So see, here we are getting a relation where mod of Z2 minus Z1 is greater than mod of Z2 minus mod of Z1. Similarly, after reversing this, making this Z1 as Z2 and this Z2 minus Z1 and getting this the sum result as Z1, we could have proved Z1 minus Z2 in a similar way greater than this minus this. So similarly, combining these two, what we can write? Modulus of this is greater than what? Z1 minus Z2. Okay, take mod of this one. So whether it's a mod Z1 minus mod Z2 or mod Z2 minus Z2, take a mod of that. Mod Z1 minus Z2 will be greater than that always. Please note, when I am proving this one with triangle, so it is always greater than. But as we discussed in our yesterday's class or lecture, there will be a possibility like the triangle area is 0. So in that case, Q falls on x-axis as Q dot. Suppose P falls as P dot. So O P dot Q dot is collinear. So in that case, O Q dot actually OP dot plus P dot Q dot. So O Q dot is actually equal. It becomes equal. So equality also holds true. Okay. So there is a special case when the triangle is just falls on the real axis, so the triangle area becomes 0. So there is a possibility that it has one more case with equal sign. Okay. So in general case, it is represented as this. So we have proved now mod Z1 minus mod Z2 is greater than equal to mod Z1 minus Z2, and mod Z1 minus Z2 is less than equal to mod Z1 plus mod Z2. Now we will represent multiplication of two complex numbers. Okay. Suppose Z1 is what? R1 cos theta 1 plus I sin theta 1. Z2 is what? R2 cos theta 2 plus I sin theta 2. Let's calculate Z1, Z2. It will be R1, R2, and if you multiply this, see, if you see real part is cos theta 1, cos theta 2, then this part will be I square sin theta 1, sin theta 2. So it is cos theta 1, cos theta 2 minus I theta 1, I actually cos theta 1, cos theta 2 minus sin theta 1, sin theta 2. So it is cos theta 1 plus theta 2 plus I. When you multiply, you will get I into sin theta 1 cos theta 2 plus cos theta 1 sin theta 2. So it becomes sin of theta 1 plus theta 2. If someone is not getting how am I doing this, like cos theta 1 cos theta 2 minus sin theta 1 sin theta 2 is this. So just understand this and assume what I have told, this is to be true, and when you go to the compound angle chapter in trigonometry, you will see this, you will understand the formula. So now let's represent. Suppose this is Z1, this is O, this is P with coordinate Z1, this is X1 plus I Y1. So what is OP? OP is mod of Z1 equal to R1. Angle, this is theta 1. That is the argument of Z1. Now take Z2 also. I will take Z2 here. I will make a point Q. So it will be X2 plus I Y2. And its angle will be what? Its angle will be theta 2. So we will write OQ equal to mod of Z2 equal to R2. Now the multiplied result is what? R1, R2. Okay. So R1, R2 will be on which side? This side, in which side? See, the argument of Z1, Z2 is what? Theta 1 plus theta 2. So theta 1, theta 2, here we are assuming both as positive. So it will be like this. If this is suppose R, that is represented by a complex number, that is Z1, Z2, Z1, Z2, coordinate I will not write. In the polar form we can represent like R comma theta, so its coordinate can be written in this way too, that R value and theta value. Okay. So the theta here becomes this will be theta 1 plus theta 2, theta 1 plus theta 2, that's why I am taking in this side, and R1, R2, this magnitude will be, OR should be R1, R2, that is mod Z1 is R1, we know, mod Z2 is R2. Okay. Now see, from here we reach to an important property of multiplication or product of two complex number, and if you take mod of that, see, mod of Z1, Z2 is what? R1, R2 is actually what? Let's break it. R1, R2, let's write it directly. OR is what? If Z1, Z2 is the point, so OR is actually mod of that. Length. Length is mod of this one, as Z2 is the point, so OQ is mod Z2. Z1 is the point, then OP is mod Z1. So OR, if R coordinate is Z1, Z2, then the OR, that length will be mod of this Z1, Z2. So this is what? Actually mod Z1, Z2 equal to, we know, R1, R2, this one. So we can write as R1 into R2. R1 is what? Mod Z1. R2 is mod Z2. So mod Z1, Z2 can be written as mod Z1 into mod Z2. Okay. So this was the geometrical representation of product of two complex numbers. Now we will represent Z1 by Z2. Okay. Z1 in the same way we will write R1 cos theta 1 plus I sin theta 1 z2 r2 cos theta 2 plus I sin theta 2. So what is z1 by z2? See, z1 by z2 means one complex number divided by other complex number. Then from the denominator you will multiply denominator with the conjugate of the denominator. Then you will reach a plus ib form. But anyway, we will not go that calculation. I think okay, if you want I will just reach there also first. I will calculate. So it becomes r1 by r2 first, r1 by r2. Okay, then it is cos theta 1 plus I sin theta 1. Here it is cos theta 2 plus I sin theta 2. So r1 r2 as it is. Its complex conjugate is cos theta 2 minus I sin theta 2. So if I multiply, I will get cos square this, a plus b, a minus b. So from here I will get this, and this will be whole square, cos theta 1 plus I sin theta 1 whole square. So it becomes cos square, sorry, we have multiplied with cos theta 2 minus I sin theta 2. So it will be cos theta 1 cos theta 2 minus I sin theta 1 sin theta 2 in that way what we discussed with z1 z2 in our earlier example. So here it is z1 by z2 I am multiplying with minus of this. Okay, so it will be result in the same way will be theta 1 minus theta 2 plus I sin theta 1 minus theta 2. This part is what? I square. I square is minus 1. So it makes it plus 1. So this is plus 1. So actually the final result is this. So in the case of division, angle gets added. In the case of in the case of multiplication, angles gets added, and in case of division, angle gets subtracted. And this modulus, it is just a simple divided by or multiplied value, as this is a real number, simple. Now we will represent it. Okay, we know z1 as, suppose point P is z1. So this angle is what? Theta 1, and our OP is R1 equal to mod Z1. Now we take another point OQ. OQ. So OQ is what? R2 Z2. So now where you don't need to, for representing, you don't need to go to the exact position. Try to visualize where should be Z1 by Z2. See, first thing is that it should be R1 by R2, value is R1 by R2, and the angle, the argument or the angle with the positive real axis, in this case we are taking everything in the anti-clockwise direction with the positive real axis. So it will be theta 1 minus theta 2. This is theta 1. This is for Z2, it is theta 2. So it definitely angle will be theta 1 minus theta 2. So somewhere between these two positions. So I have taken here R. So OR magnitude will be R1 by R2, that we get from here. Okay, but this is what? R is actually in complex number form. It is Z1 by, point is Z1 by Z2. So actually it is what? This length is mod of that Z1 by Z2. So from here also we reach to one important property. This division of a complex number, if you take mod of that, that means what? R1 by R2. Again you know R1 as mod of Z1 R2 as mod of Z2. So mod of Z1 by Z2 is mod Z1 by mod Z2. Okay. Now let's move to some properties of complex number. So Z1 is, suppose it's a complex number this, x1 plus y1. Z2 is complex number this. So Z1 plus Z2 is complex. Z2 is complex number. From parallelogram law also we have seen the same thing. We have represented this also. Z1 minus Z2 also complex. Z1 Z2 also complex. Z1 by Z2 also complex. Now what is Z to the power n or Z1 to the power n? Okay, n is suppose a natural number. So what is the value of Z1 to the power n? N is any integer. So what this means actually? So if we take n as a positive integer first, then it is Z1 into Z1 into Z1 dot 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 n times. Okay. So that means we know Z1 Z2 is a complex number. So multiplication of these, all this can be said as complex. Now we have taken positive n as a positive number, positive integer. That's why we multiplied n times. What is if that is a negative integer? Simply this is complex. So 1 by any complex number is also a complex number. It is simple. If you have 1 plus x plus iy, just multiply denominator with conjugate of this. So you will get x square plus y square, x minus iy. So x by this minus I by this. Okay. So this, or we will write Z1 to the power n or Z2 to the power minus n. Okay, Z1 to the power minus n or Z to the power equal to again a complex number. Okay. Then nth root of Z1 is what? This is also complex. Okay. Suppose if you want to prove this is simple, suppose that this is real. Okay. This is real. Now take to the power n on both sides, so it becomes 0. A is real, so to the power n, this is also real. Okay. This side complex, this side real, it is not possible. If that side is real, so Z1 is what? X plus I1 equal to, suppose a real number is this only. This real value is at this. So comparing, we know that when you have equal sign and on the both side we have one side as complex and another side may or may not be complex, but in that case also from the equality of real part and imaginary part, we can say real part equal to real part, imaginary part equal to imaginary part. So y1 becomes what? Y1 becomes 0 because this side we do not have any complex part. Okay. So what this means? Y1 becomes 0 and x1 is a. So Z1 actually becomes x1 because the imaginary part becomes 0. So Z1 does not remain as complex number. Actually it is a complex number, but x plus iy, in that format it is the y1 imaginary part vanishes. Okay. So it cannot be real, it is always imaginary. We have other ways also to prove, but this is complex. Now we have already seen x plus iy, it is, if it is a plus iy, then equating real part and imaginary part, we can say this. If suppose x plus iy equal to 0, that means 0 we can write it as this. So same comparison if we do, we get real part with real part, imaginary part with imaginary part, and we get this. Always remember that a real number, any real number actually is subset of complex number, because any real number can be represented in a plus I b form. Like if you say 2 can be represented as 2 plus I into 0. X plus I into y is the general form. X is real, y is real, so it can be 0. There is no restriction on that. So any positive, negative, real value, anything is actually can be represented in the form of a plus ib, so that is actually a complex number. We can say 0 as a complex number, okay? We have no problem with that. If in MCQ, if it asks that does to represent a complex number or real number or rational, irrational, so you have multiple choice in that. More than one value will be true and complex number will also be true, okay? Other you know, but complex number we may skip it, but complex number, it is also a complex number. Now there are few more properties like z1 plus z2 equal to z2 plus z1, because z1 is x1 plus iy1, z2 is what? x2 plus iy2. So if you add z1 plus z2 becomes this plus I into this. So actually we can reverse it, x2 plus x1 plus I into y2 plus y1. So x2 plus I y2 plus x1 plus I y1. So actually it becomes z2 plus z1. So this is called commutative law for addition. In a simple way, you can test z1 z2 equal to z2 z1. This is commutative law for multiplication. So addition. Now see what happens to subtraction. Simply we know 2 minus 3 is not equal to 3 minus 2. Simply z1 minus z2 not equal to z2 minus z1. So commutative law does not satisfy for subtraction. Similarly for division, z1 by z2 cannot be z1 by z2, it cannot be equal to z2 by z1, okay? Now z1 plus z2 plus z3, in that if you associate any 2, the result becomes same. So it follows associative property for addition. Again for multiplication also we can have these two equal, so it follows associative property for multiplication also. Now distributive property, z1 plus z2 z3, you can write z1 z3 plus z2 z3, okay? We will see some special case, one special case of principal value of this. Argument of z1 z2 is what? When we multiplied z1 and z2, we saw that it came like r1 r2 into, in multiplication angles got added, okay? Angles got added. So actually theta 1 was the argument of z1, theta 2 was for z2. So z1 z2 is this. Now if you take the argument of this, what it becomes? Theta 1 plus theta 2. Theta 1 is argument of z1, theta 2 is argument of z2. So this is a simple proof, okay? Now for division, what was the value of z1 z2? r1 r2, and as I told that for division this replaced with subtraction. Theta 1 and theta 2 became theta 1 minus theta 2. So here we can say argument of z1 by z2 is what? Theta 1 minus theta 2. So theta 1 is what? Argument of z1 minus argument of z2. Always remember that these are the principal value of the argument. So when nothing is mentioned, always we have to assume principal value. And when we assume principal value, suppose this has some value, this has some value. For example, suppose its value is 5 pi by 6. This is definitely within pi to minus pi, and this value becomes minus 2 pi by 6. This is also pi to minus pi, but this argument z1 by z2 is coming as 5 pi by 6 plus 2 pi by 6. So what this is? 7 pi by 6. So if someone asks you what is the value of z1 by z2, if say argument z1 is 5 pi by 6 and argument z2 is minus 2 pi by 6. So the result is becoming 7 pi by 6, but if you say that the principal value of this z1 argument z1 by z2 is this, it's wrong. Okay? So that special case we will discuss. See, argument of anything is what? Pi to minus pi. Okay? But the complete argument of z it was not complete, but considering these cases where the principal value crosses pi, it's more than pi, so we have to, in its more generalized form, we write it as this, where m is 0, minus 2 pi or plus 2 pi. Now see, if this is 7 pi by 6, okay, so arg z, it is this. Normally m equal to 0 is taken, so that argument z plus m equal to arg z. When arg z is greater than pi, so definitely we have to reduce it. Okay, so let's reduce it. 7 pi by 6 minus 2 pi. So it is 6 to the 12 minus 5 pi by 6. Now you might be a little bit confused. So let me geometrically put it so that it becomes clear. What is 7 pi by 6? It is more than pi. So somewhere here it will be 7 pi by 6. It is anti-clockwise direction. Okay. These are, see, more than problems. I am just spending much time on concept because my class is on concept buildings. Then we will go to the problems, because problems anybody can pick up from anywhere and they can solve it. Okay, but unless your concept is clear, you won't be able to solve those things. Okay, you will just read those solution and understand, that's okay. But why those things are happening, if somebody just tweaks the problem a bit, you can't figure out like what was the change and how to proceed. Okay, so let's understand these things in a bit more detail. 7 pi by 6, but it is more than pi. Okay, the general domain is pi to minus pi. So this side, positive side, we can go to till pi, negative side minus pi, but not including minus pi. So we cannot take this because it is crossing this pi. So in the clockwise direction we will take this angle. As I told you that we will see, we always taken theta in anti-clockwise direction and positive, but it can be taken in the negative means clockwise direction also, and theta can be negative. That's what it is. See, it is the same z. We took the angle in anti-clockwise, now clockwise. So in the clockwise, if you see, this is total 2 pi and this is 7 pi by 6. So in the clockwise, first thing is it will be negative. Okay, and what is the value? It was total was 2 pi. From that you are subtracting 7 pi by 6. So actually it is negative. Now negative sign, we knew that it is a clockwise, so we put it as a negative. But actually it is what? If you see, actually it is 7 pi by 6 minus 2 pi. That's what we have taken. In a similar way, if some angle comes less than minus pi, suppose if some angle is coming as argument z is, suppose minus 7 pi by 6, then you have to add 2 pi to it, okay? So you have 5 pi by 6. So in this way, you will reach to the principal value. These type of exceptions will not occur when you know like 5 plus 3i, and so it is in which quadrant, you know 5 comma 3 in the first quadrant you already know. So from there when you calculate, you won't reach to this point, but we will reach to these exceptions when you are calculating the argument using argument z1 plus z2, argument z1 minus z2 and those things. So those separate arguments after addition, subtraction, how will it behave, whether the result will be within the boundary or outside the boundary, we don't know. So in the result we need to take care whether it's in the boundary, and if it is not within the boundary, you have to adjust the value like this. Okay, I think we had enough covered the concepts. Let's take the problems in the next class. Before that, I forgot to give you discuss two more things, though it is already explained in a different way, but I want to be specific. I to the power 1 equal to I square is what? I into I. Actually it is root over minus 1 square equal to minus 1. I cube is what? I square into I square is minus 1, so it is minus I to the power 4 equal to I square into I square, so minus 1 into minus 1 equal to 1. So you see that I to the power 1 is I square is what? Minus 1. I cube is what? Minus 1. And this is plus 1, I to the power 4. Now see, this repeats. If you go to I to the power 5, it is what? I to the power 4 plus 1. So I to the power 4 into I to the power 1. And I to the power 4 is always 1. So actually it repeats. Now I to the power 4, 5 becomes this. I to the power 6 becomes I to the power 4 into I square. So it is I square like this, it repeats. So in general way we can write, it can be I to the power 4 to the power k into I, because I to the power 4 is 1, to 1 to the power k is 1, k can be any constant. So what is this? This we can write it as 4k plus 1. This power is 1, so I to the power 4k plus 1 is always I. Similarly, I to the power 4k plus 2, this is minus 1, because I to the power 4k is always 1, I to the power 4 to the power k. Similarly, I to the power 4k plus 3 is minus this, 4k plus 4 is this 1. Okay. And in complex number, cube root of unity, that concept we need to remember, we need to understand that. I forgot that one. So what is a cube root of unity? Suppose the value is x. See, till now we knew that cube root of 1 is 1, but 1 is one of the three possible root of 1. See, it is x cube equal to 1. So it has three roots. One root is 1, that we know. So let's calculate. X cube minus 1 equal to 0 implies x minus 1 into x square plus x plus 1 equal to 0. So this part, from this part we will get this, but from this part what we will get? X square plus x plus 1 equal to 0. So x becomes minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac by 2a. Simple. So minus 1 plus minus root over of minus 3 by 2. Here minus what we can write? I square. So actually it is I root 3. So minus 1 plus I root 3 by 2 is 1 root. Another is minus 1 minus I root 3 by 2. So x is one value, another two are this. In complex number, this is generally represented. One of these is omega. Okay, one of this is omega. So let's find what is omega square. What is omega square? We assume first one as omega. So omega square means minus 1 plus I root 3 by 2 square. So a square plus b square means 3i square, actually minus 3 plus 2ab. So it becomes minus I root 3 by 2. So minus 2 I root 3 by 2 equal to minus 1 minus I root 3 by 2. See, the other root comes. So when you take one of the root as omega, the omega square is the other root. Okay. So there are two properties that we need to remember. First, cube root of 1, 3 roots are this, and omega is, you have to remember these values. Okay, minus 1 plus I root 3 by 2. Now, omega cube is what? Omega into omega square. So if you multiply omega into omega square, so a plus b, a minus b, numerator becomes a square minus I root 3 this, and the denominator is 2 into 2, 4. So here 1, I square is minus 1, makes it plus, root 3 square is 3. So 1. Omega cube is what? This is an important value that you have to remember. Now 1 plus omega square is what? 1 plus, add these two. 2 is in the denominator, minus 1 plus I root 3, minus 1 minus I root 3. So 1 plus minus 2 by 2 equal to 1 minus 1 equal to 0. This is another property, that 1 plus omega square equal to 0. So again, omega, after omega cube is what? 1. So omega to the power 4, since it is the same way as we have seen for I square, I cube, then I5, I to the power 5, I raised to the power of 6, I raised to the power of 7. In that way, after omega cube, if you see, everything repeats. Omega cube is 1, after I to the power 4, everyone was repeating. Here, after omega to the power cube, everything is repeating. So this becomes omega cube C. Okay. So from here we will reach again general statement. There I to the power 4k plus 1 was I, 4k plus 2 was I square, like this. Here we know omega cube 1, so 1 to the power k is what? Always 1. So omega to the power 3k always 1. So we can write omega to the power 3k into omega equal to what? Omega. Okay. So and omega to the power 3k into omega square is what? Omega square. So that means omega is what? Omega to the power 3k plus 1 equal to omega. Omega to the power 3k plus 2 equal to omega square, in this way. Okay. So if someone asks you like what is the value of omega to the power some unusual number like 1999, so represent it in 3 into form. 3 into form, so 3 6 18 plus 1. Okay, so actually it is omega, and now you know the value, either this or the minus form, this whatever you assume. If you assume omega in the beginning, if you assume omega is this, then result will be this. Okay, so let's stop. I will cover the problems in the next lecture. Okay, so thank you all. Bye.